We get to discuss the End Bad Governance protest and, of course, lessons to learn. The End Bad Governance protest across the country is a revelation that there's a lot of work for the government to do in terms of engaging young people like the hundreds who came out to protest against hunger and general economic hardship. Those that protested or are protesting may be just a fraction of Nigerians who are angry and also hungry. Millions did not join physically, but they voted for it in their hearts and, of course, on social media. And the fury and unexpected numbers from northern states highlights the grievances among the people, and that should bother government and agencies of development. And now joining us in the studio to, of course, explore perspectives on these developments is a human rights activist, Ibrahim Garba. He's also a youth development expert. Welcome to the program, of course. So I see you smiling. I know you're one person who might have first-hand experience of what youths might want, how their mind works, and of course how they go about making some of these demands. Yes. So were you surprised when you saw, the magnitude of young Nigerians who hit the streets in protest and in demand of better leadership and better governance from their government?
Well, let me start by saying good morning.
Indeed.
And thank you for giving us this platform. I must commend the efforts of your organization, being very much in the public domain, in print and in broadcast. Of course, we pass through these stages in our career. Let me begin by saying that, well, it's natural when you see people protesting. It goes back to earliest times, and it has been foretold by creation that when things go wrong, people protest. It's biblical, it's in the Quran and all that. And in modern democracies, there are bound to be disagreements, and people have the right to channel their grievances through the right channels. But a situation whereby you want to create a wedge between you and those you are leading, people will revolt. So it's natural. It's not something new. Remember, before this present protest, our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was once an activist, and that resonated during his time when he led other people protesting against the increase in pump price of petrol and some other things which are at that time were not in line with the promises made by the government. So it's natural that people must come out. Now, talking about these protests, well, Nigerians connected easily because what was trending, or rather people are agitating for not just good governance. People are agitating for government to look inwards, bring development across board. There was incidences of increase in pump price of petroleum products, the inflation rising to above 34%. And the foreign exchange is not certain whether how much you're going to buy dollar today or tomorrow. So there are so many unfavorable government policies, and this does not trickle down to the common man on the street. So government was given a window to address some of these issues. But the bottom line is every day people go to bed hungry. People wake up hungry. You don't know when the next meal is coming from. So there was a wide gap between those in power and the ordinary citizens. And when you look at it, averagely almost 80% of Nigerians are living below the poverty line, because it's glaring for you to see when you go out on a daily basis. People hardly find a source of survival. And when you have the means, the money does not have value. So it's spread across. And there was this agitation. People say, yes, I was one of those that say that these are faceless groups. We don't know their wealth or their source. We don't know them. Nobody come out to take responsibility. Except some people that say, okay, yes, we are protesting. But who should own up to it? Who should take responsibility? Who should be in the forefront? So you need a regular face that is known, a leader that would drive the process. That was the missing link. And that is why when the protest started, I will not say it was hijacked, but some youths who considered this as a moment to come out and voice out, resort to brigandage, resort to looting and attack. So it becomes uncontrollable, and there was a deviation from the laid down procedures issued by the court that, restrict yourself to the national stadium, restrict yourself to certain locations, even if the government did not even anticipate that it's going to be widespread across the 36 states. But thank God for social media, and it gives us an opportunity to sit down and think what should be the way forward, what should be the plan B, but government responded at the right time.
Now, Ibrahim, we saw the dimension that this demonstration took, and we saw the faces on the street. In some states, it was young children who were running around and they were shouting "Bamwi, Bamwi."
Yes.
We saw protesters who actually came out saying it is an end to bad governance that they want. We saw others who said, well, for them it's hunger. There's hunger in the land. So it was seeming like across the different parts of the country, the call was different. But would you say that there was sort of a disparity between those who were legitimately protesting and those who caused a lot of this carnage that we saw? Because, I mean, there has to be some difference.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, there was actually a disconnect. What I mean is that at the initial stage, my thinking is, was that this thing is going to be Abuja based. Because I have been involved in activism over the years. I've been part of Occupy Nas and some others across. So there's a way, a manner you organize protests by taking responsibility, owning up to it that if anything happens, you should be held accountable. But, I think the organizers underestimated the reaction that came forward. Because, yes, I watched it and I passed through, I went through, I participated by going through to actually have a feel. Because you don't stay back home and say, okay, let me observe from a distance through camera lens or reports on radio. Practically, you have to be on the field to assess. I passed through when police were, firing tear gas at, people who are trying to go above the law instead of organizing yourself, coming out, carrying placards, I think there was a missing link. There was no connect between the original founders or rather protesters and those who took advantage of the situation.
So it felt like they just brought them into the street and that was it. There was no provision or plan to carry on with the demonstration.
Funny enough, what I mean, there's a disconnect is where I felt the federal government and its agencies is the fact that, one, they gave you this window period to address these issues. That's one. And there were opinions across, but yes, people have right to protest, but within an area. But the implication if you allow freely for people to come out. So at that point, we saw what happened at the National Stadium where there was an anti-protester group again, coming in buses, about 10 vehicles to counter. When that happens, naturally, there's going to be cause for conflicts of interest. But we still have the ambience, feedback that even though they came as anti-protesters, in the end, we found out they equally joined the protest
the other.
Because
I mean, I wish it was possible to get that video, but we saw the video of that chap who was supposed to be an anti-protester and who was talking about how he could no longer buy a cup of Gary for 100 naira, and again, even 1,000 naira cannot get you a cup of Gary.
No, it's true because I think I would like to say, when you protest, there should be a plan of action. It's not about, and I faulted the tagline when you say end bad governance. No,
it was so ambiguous.
Yes, so ambiguous. Democracies across the world is being tested. Even those with copy and paste. In London, you saw what happened. People vandalized shops. If these are superior democracies. So I see that as something that is not workable. We should go back to something that is germane, something that works for Nigerians, for the good of Nigerians, because honestly, there's a wide disconnect. So people definitely will revolt against the system. So I'm not surprised with the outcome. I think that is why we'll have to come in to see how we can leverage on this, advise, and maybe seek better alternatives to cushion the effects of this
now,
protest.
Ibrahim, we've seen this protest happen. The protest is gradually losing steam in different parts of the country, owing to some of the curfews that were imposed by these state governors.
Yes.
I mean, Kaduna's curfew was relaxed only just on Thursday here, so it means that to a large extent, these curfews have been used as a tool to curtail, the large demonstrations across different parts of the state. Now, talking about government response as well, we've seen at the federal level how, the president addressed Nigeria. Question of whether it did enough to assuage the tension or not, well, we would ask that much later.
Okay.
But then again, what's obvious right now is the seeming disenchantment which still remains despite the demonstration, despite the government response.
Yes.
It doesn't change the fact for a lot of Nigerians that their situations remained as it is. The hunger is still very real.
Yes.
They still go to the market and they still cannot afford all of the things that they ought to have been able to afford. Now, putting all of this in mind, would you now say, with all of what we've seen happen in the course of the last 1 week, unfortunately including the loss of lives, would you, in your own honest assessment, say that it is over and perhaps it's now time for us to see the government, live up to all of the hype and all of the words that it has put out there for Nigerians?
I wish the authorities are watching what we're doing right now, because these are original voices of people that know the streets. And I like the way you are probing the whole thing. This is something that is, constitutional, and something that is realistic, and something that requires that everybody becomes a stakeholder to nip this in the bud. It is true. You address the issues. It's just like giving somebody the cake and you took away the icing. Yes, I read through Mr. President's address. Even if to me, I'm one of those that added my voice and said, look, Mr. President, speak out to Nigerians within this window period. Address Nigerians. Come on, you don't even need scripts. Okay, ahead of whatever is going to happen, I take responsibility for everything that's happening in the country today. I take responsibility for the fuel subsidy removal. I take responsibility for not opening the borders on time. I take responsibility for the rising cost of living. I take responsibility for the gap we are seeing in the society as a leader. However, let us see how we can solve these problems on our own. Let me look at my cabinet. Is it too large? Can I trim my cabinet? I'll be first to pronounce, look, if my salary, whatever the federal government pay me, I'm,
forfeiting
half of my salary, and I will call.
But Ibrahim, that the monies, the main attractions are not in the salaries, but are in the allowances.
No, excuse me.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. There are so many things you can do within the presidency.
Just show sensitivity.
To show you have Nigerians at heart, and to show that yes, you are ready for business. I like Mr. President. He's very decisive. But the only thing, he has to be assertive and he has to be proactive. What do I mean by that? When you talk to Nigerians, you need to know the emotions of these people agitating. What are they really looking for? It's beyond the Federal Executive Council meeting, whereby stories are being told, information are being given, and all you believe is what you are given. But in between, we know the sabotage and censor some of the information that go to Mr. President. At that level, let me listen to BBC, Voice of America, the local languages. Let me listen to radio stations that are popular. Let me listen to the taxi driver, the market woman, the trader, and all these people. All in one, let me summarize. This is my direct first of contact. Second, let me send one of my aides, maybe a female, go to Gariki market, go to Wuse market, go to Nyanya market, give me a feel of commodity prices. This forms part of your research as a leader before you take decisive action. So these are some of the elements that were missing. So in addressing that issue through his long speech, about 38 paragraphs, I saw through, okay, you are announcing your achievement to Nigerians.
It seemed like he was campaigning.
As
A
if
lot of Nigerians
you are
would
campaigning to Nigerians after 1 year. Yes, you did well. We don't take that
On
away
paper,
from you.
because I mean, I've had callers calling to specifically say they're doing well on paper. No, I'm not saying this. I am re-echoing what viewers who have called into the station have continuously said.
Okay.
And of course, I'm going to ask another question, but finish with your thoughts.
No, on paper, the policy direction of the federal government, I like it. He's so decisive about the removal of fuel subsidy. Me, I was very, very happy about it. Let us all come to the market together. Let us feel the pain together. Because the situation where I see come to a filling station to buy fuel at that rate, and somebody is taking this fuel outside to sell it at a cheaper rate, and there's this monopoly in fuel importation, our modular refineries, we don't have enough modular refineries.
Okay.
So these are some of the issues that requires urgent attention,
but
and there's
Ibrahim,
no timeline.
Don't you think that the government of the day might even have much more to grapple with in terms of work to be done?
Yes.
Now, this is what I mean. I had a caller who called from Jos Plateau State, Buhari. Buhari was really concerned about the act of the government continuously making pronouncements that it had no intentions to follow up with. This is what he meant. We're discussing the issue of the distribution of bags of rice to civil servants to be sold at 40,000 naira for a 50 kg bag, as opposed to its actual price in the market.
Yes.
A circular came out on Thursday that stated that unfortunately they will not be proceeding with that. Now, Buhari's claim is that this is not the first time that the government will come, flamboyant policies on paper, time for implementation, it disappears into thin air. So he is saying because of the trauma of continuous government promise and fail cycle, he will not hold what the government is saying with a pinch of salt. Don't you think the government has a lot to do in terms of reorienting Nigerians to now start to believe some of the things that it has been putting out, for example, by matching words with action?
Wow, that's critical. Buhari was right, or Buhari is right. Matching words with actions. But again, it goes beyond that. You have, in every strata of the society, you have leaders, community leaders, and religious leaders, opinion leaders, student group, market group, and all that. These are the people you work with, because governance is not about Abuja, Lagos, or Port Harcourt, or Kano. Governance is about those at the lower spectrum of the society. These are the people that are complaining, the civil servants, those in the lower cadre. Up until the minimum wage, how many state governors were able to pay 30,000 naira? Under this dispensation? Look, people no longer can afford to come to work, come to office. Even the private sector, they are battling with the purchase of diesel. They are battling
running costs, a lot of running costs. So if you check, that's why I say anything you throw out is like throwing just one drop in the ocean. 40,000 naira. Don't forget that if you don't have a structure on ground through cooperatives or cluster groups to handle these things, it's a failure. Because somebody will just come and say, okay, I want to pay for 10 bags. Take this 10, okay, take 5,000 per bag, make it 45,000. It happens. This is the country we live today. And this is what Buhari was talking about. And that is why I said, how do we these are the gaps government need to exploit. There should be enforcement. There should be monitoring. There should be policy evaluation. And government should put its feet on the ground to have, anti-democratic forces, people, you check them. Because in all this, don't forget, there are pockets of opposition that wouldn't want anything to fly. So, because of that, when you are preparing to broadcast a speech, you first analyze the situation on ground, then react. We,
in the private sector, we cannot go out to say, government, this is what you must do. It's a collective responsibility. Rather, if you seek our opinion through formal communication, we can always do that. But at this level, we have to look at it from afar. But if they request, okay, look at it. Somebody just come with a portfolio from US, Britain or Europe to Nigeria with just a portfolio. The next thing is going back with millions of dollars. Ideas. All he needs is an idea. So an ideas rule the world. So this is what is missing. I think government should step down, work with technocrats, people, especially gurus in the media, deploy resources to side, go beyond party affiliations and bring in people so kickstart the economy. Otherwise,
we saw the president establish the Presidential Economic Coordination Council.
Yes.
I really can't remember the exact name here.
Yes.
And right now, and we saw the likes of the big wigs
and all that.
Exactly.
Yes.
The likes of Dangote, Otedola, and the likes in there. Now we're hoping that that's going to lead to some of development and, of course, recovery of the Nigerian economy.
Look, don't go there.
But okay, no. That said, I'm not going there. I assure you, that's not the conversation we're having today. But that said,
no, I wanted to react to that.
Okay, all right. Let's get your reaction first.
You see, these people are too busy with their private business.
So they might not be able to give
what are they
the required attention.
Look, let me tell you, go through. Oh my God, go through. Take a step further down. We have economic analysts. We have experts in management of resources. They are not in public spaces. They are in private organization. Go through. We are under 40 CEOs around. Go through. Dangote is more of his business. What he's bringing to the table is a trader. Profit and loss, all these things factor. And again, if you bring him on board, he's looking for a way to leverage on that to sell and say, look, give me, I want to be a monopoly. So it does not add up.
Fine.
Yes.
So let's leave that conversation. Now, where I was heading is something you mentioned earlier about the need for government to maybe re-strategize and talk about putting the system in order in a way that it would benefit the common man on the street.
Yes.
Now, you spoke earlier about opinion leaders, different unions, religious and cultural leaders, and the likes of that in the society.
Yes.
These are supposed to be the point men for the federal government if it intends to know the pulse of the people in the grassroots, right?
Yeah.
But then we've seen time and time again where even this federal government gets vindicated when it doles out all sort of initiative and care packages to Nigerian citizens, and unfortunately Nigerians on the street will come out to say, I never got any of these things. Where are they? Where's the rice? Where's the fertilizer? So if the government would want to change the system, how does it change it in a way that it does not look like it's circumventing the subnationals like the state governors and the local government chairman, who these citizens are now saying they do not trust anymore as well?
I like this question. If at any point I'm engaging personalities like that, as we are going and serving somebody after you, that is one. If my money is for palliative, you see, that's why I say I want to see my president becoming authoritative and decisive, because you need to put on your boots and confront these people. What do I mean by these people? We have the governors and those who are holding us to ransom. You release this money, by the time it gets to them, already the money disappears. It goes into private estate and all that. Now, the issue here is this, my brother. If you have to do palliatives, must it be through commodities? Something I'll eat today, tomorrow is off, or something I'll go and queue? It's a failed policy. It doesn't add up. I will refer you to the previous government and what somebody that I respect so much in terms of business is Akiwumi Adesina, AFDB president, and the former vice president. I'll talk about these people, Osibanjo. That trader money. Monies were going out, 10,000, 15,000 to women. Let me tell you, most of the women who feel the brunt of this problem, give them 25,000, 30,000 naira. let them trade. They can do bean cake. They can do a lot of things with that money. These are the greatest beneficiaries. I want to see that we have a local government system that is fully effective and functional. What's the job of the supervisory councillors? Look, let me interface with them. If I have my supervisory councillors in the 774 local government, I have less stress. Fine. 50% of this money I'm giving you to the state governors, no problem. Implement it politically at your level. 30% the local government, 20% the supervisory councillors, because they interface directly with the locals. They know them. They go door to door, house to house to dispense cash with the caveat. Give me a report of the dispensed cash. Who are the beneficiaries? Give me a list, create a WhatsApp group, or give me a database of these people where I can call somebody from the presidency. It happened to me when I was invited to attend Vision 2020 under Yaradua. I was in office as a broadcast personality, and I got a call from the National Secretariat. Are you Ibrahim Garba? I said, yes, sir. Okay, you are invited by the presidency, to attend and be part. I was shocked. How did my number get to the president? So it was an honor.
It's possible to use these systems.
When you do that, what is the job of the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development? Even if the humanitarian is as good as comatose, because it's like a drain pipe. So look, what stops you? Okay, I'm the Minister of the Federal Republic. My name is Barrister Susu and so. Right. Am I talking to Mr. Yusuf Ubale? Or am I talking to Kemi? When you talk, they will feel elated.
Indeed.
Because you are doing a checklist of these things that have been handed down. Now, if you are doing that, there's no way the supervisory councillor will sabotage your effort.
Definitely, and we do hope to have this conversation another time more elaborately, as unfortunately the technical crew have been on me saying that the time is up. But then again, thank you so much, Ibrahim Garba, for your contributions and of course your assessment of this situation. Ibrahim Garba is an advocate, a human rights activist, of course, and he's been sharing perspectives on the developments, especially on lessons that should be learned following the End Bad Governance protest. Thank you so much for being a part of the program.
Thank you for having me.